making headlines. The president underscores the importance of research and studies in overcoming challenges to the Maldives' development and achieving economic prosperity. The First Lady sheds light on the persistent challenges women face in the tourism sector despite its 50-year history. And HPA announces that it is taking significant measures to assess the potential spread of Mpox in the Maldives, develop strategies to control the disease and prepare for testing and treatment.
Welcome to the English News. I'm your host Malak Ahmad Fayaz. Now for the news in detail. President Dr. PSMNEWS underscores the importance of research and studies in overcoming challenges to the Maldives' development and achieving economic prosperity. The President made these remarks during the inauguration of the Teveli International Conference 2024.
In his address, President Dr. PSMNEWS articulated the government's vision for Maldives, where every policy decision is guided by evidence-based professional solutions. He called on all stakeholders, including academia, researchers, policymakers, the private sector, and the public to collaborate in this vital endeavor. The President emphasized the significance of domestic research, stressing the need to strengthen the nation's research systems. He highlighted the importance of aligning development models with the community's values and future aspirations. Acknowledging the unique challenges faced by small island developing nations like the Maldives, such as environmental and public health issues, he stated that the most effective way to address these concerns is through thorough research and identification of actionable solutions. Additionally, President Dr. PSMNEWS noted his administration's commitment to promoting research and development, citing the establishment of a National Research Council as a cornerstone of a research-driven future. He also announced the introduction of a special grant aimed at fostering research and innovation. The President concluded his remarks by urging the public to value and support research, to ask questions, seek knowledge, and actively contribute to the nation's progress. The 7th edition of the conference, organized by the Maldives National University (MNU), will take place from August 19th to 20th under the theme Bridging Boundaries, Exploring Synergies across Research Disciplines.
First Lady Sajida Mohammed sheds light on the persistent challenges women face in the tourism sector despite its 50-year history. Her remarks were made during the opening ceremony of the women's edition of the Maldives Travel Conference 2024, the first event of its kind.
In her address, First Lady Sajida pointed out that women constitute only 5% of the tourism workforce. She emphasized that the gender disparity extends beyond mere numbers, highlighting systematic issues such as the lack of a supportive environment in some resorts, societal stigma surrounding women in these roles, and the persistent glass ceiling that hinders women's advancement into management positions. She stressed the urgent need to address these challenges. The First Lady also spoke about the ongoing struggles women face in the workplace, even as the tourism sector marks 5 decades of success. She highlighted the critical need for maternity leave and a work environment that is supportive and accommodating of women's needs. Criticizing the practice of rejecting women from employment due to concerns about their biological responsibilities, she called this a setback for gender equality. Additionally, she urged for a shift in societal perceptions of women working in resorts. First Lady Sajida further noted the importance of listening to women within the sector, understanding their challenges, and translating these insights into concrete policies that can lead to a meaningful change. She expressed hope that the conference would spark discussions and generate solutions to the challenges women face in tourism, noting that these efforts are vital for the well-being of future generations.
The Health Protection Agency (HP) announces that it is taking significant measures to assess the potential spread of Mpox, monkeypox, in the Maldives, develop strategies to control the disease, and prepare for testing and treatment.
Mpox is an infectious disease caused by the monkeypox virus, which can lead to a painful rash, swollen lymph nodes, and fever. The World Health Organization (WHO) declared the Mpox outbreak a global emergency on August 14th, citing a surge in cases in Congo, across several African countries and beyond. This upsurge has been classified as a public health emergency of international concern (PHEIC) under the International Health Regulations 2005 (IHR). Since 2022, a total of 99,000 cases have been reported in 116 countries. In response to the outbreak, HPA has been closely monitoring the situation and taking proactive steps to prevent the spread of Mpox in the Maldives. The agency is currently evaluating the risk of Mpox transmission within the country, developing strategies to control its spread, and preparing to conduct tests and provide treatment if necessary. Additionally, HPA is working to increase awareness among healthcare workers and strengthen disease surveillance. Mpox, while currently known to be sexually transmissible, can also spread through the exchange of bodily fluids and respiratory droplets from an infected individual. It can be contracted by sharing everyday items like bed sheets, towels, and clothing with an infected person. Furthermore, the virus can be transmitted through contact with infected animals, such as during hunting, skinning, or cooking. Although most individuals recover from Mpox without medical intervention, severe cases requiring hospitalization have been reported. While there are no specific treatments for Mpox, supportive care can help manage symptoms and aid in recovery.
The Parliament approves an amendment to the Tourism Act to extend the lease term for islands or land used for low-cost tourism. The amendment bill was introduced by parliamentarian Abdullah Rashid, and it was reviewed and passed by the Parliamentary Whole House Committee. It was approved with 76 votes in favor and no votes against. Previously, the law required a payment of $200,000 for each additional year of lease and a lump sum of $10 million in extension fees. The new amendment stipulates that within 6 months of the enactment of the bill, individuals can opt for a reduced rate, which is $100,000 per additional year and a lump sum of $5 million in extension fees, provided they make the payment in full. The original rates of $200,000 extended year and $10 million in extension fees will apply after the 6-month period. The amendment aims to offer investors an opportunity to extend their lease on islands or resorts for tourism purposes. Under the existing Tourism Act, islands and land designated for tourist resorts can be leased for up to 50 years from the date of handover to the leasee. Parliamentarians emphasizes that sustainable provision of basic services relies on the establishment of urban centers.
The discussion was held during a parliamentary debate on the Urban Development Bill introduced by parliamentarian Azim Abdul Aziz. In discussing the bill, parliamentarian Azim highlighted the absence of a legal framework governing the development of areas. As such, he said that the proposed Urban Development Bill aims to enable the provision of basic services in a planned and sustainable way when developing urban areas. He also noted the negative effects of past developments that lacked proper planning, citing Malé City as an example, which was developed without a long-term urban plan, leading to overcrowding. Additionally, Azim pointed out the challenge of providing sustainable basic services across all the islands in the Maldives, noting that it is costly to establish such services in some islands, and some schools have had to close due to the lack of students. He also emphasized that the planned urban centers would greatly benefit the residents of the country. Meanwhile, parliamentarian Muntazim Ibrahim underscored the importance of the Urban Development Bill for an island nation like the Maldives. He highlighted that more than 54 islands in the country have had populations of fewer than 500 individuals. He argued that providing basic services on every island would impose a significant financial burden on the government. He also said that by creating well-planned urban centers, the government could reduce expenditures while still delivering quality services to a larger population. Moreover, parliamentarian Muhammad Mustafa Ibrahim criticized the past development of Malé, noting that it lacked a proper urban development plan. He stressed the need for a well-planned regional development in the future and criticized the previous government for allocating land without a plan. He also said that the new bill would put an end to such unplanned land allocations.
President of the Maldives National Association of Construction Industry MNACI, Mohammad Ali Jannah states that the number of loans issued for construction industry purposes have been increased by 6%.
Speaking at the inaugural ceremony of the Construction Industry Forum, President of MASI, Jannah underscored the crucial role of the construction industry in national and economic development. Highlighting the notable achievements of the industry during the first quarter of the year, Jannah stated that the loans issued for construction industry purposes have increased by 6%. He expressed his optimism, stating that the augmentation in the issuance of loans for the construction industry is indicative of its progress. Furthermore, Jannah emphasized the importance of exerting more efforts to enhance the construction industry. He called on to the experts of the industry and the government for their collaborative efforts in progressing the enhancement of the industry. He highlighted the need to discuss the challenges faced within the construction industry with relevant governmental authorities and seek potential solutions for the problems. Jannah disclosed that the biggest challenge within the industry is the lack of skilled labor, adding that the industry faces difficulties in recruiting employees, including technical experts and laborers as well. The Construction Industry Forum aims to serve as a platform in which the challenges of the industry can be discussed while determining potential long-term solutions. The forum saw talks being held on 4 significant sectors with more than 80 participants. The forum was attended by government officials as well as private individuals. The construction industry is the second industry contributing the most to the nation's economic growth.
The Ministry of Health is set to announce transitional regulations for the registration of certain service establishments within the next 2 weeks under the newly enacted Food Safety Act.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz passed the Food Safety Act on May 23rd and it will come into force on August 23rd. The Act establishes a comprehensive framework to regulate food safety, ensuring that all food products are free from harmful substances and meet established standards. The Act also includes measures and penalties for cases that pose a public health threat. The primary goal of the Act is to set standards for various aspects of food production and preparation, including packaging, labeling, preservation, storage, trade, supply and distribution. It outlines the licensing requirements for establishments involved in these processes and specifies hygiene standards for individuals working in them to ensure food safety. However, temporary markets, vehicles and stands that provide residential and food services are exempt from registration. The Maldives Food and Drug Authority (MFDA) will become a legally empowered authority with the enforcement of the Act. The responsibilities of licensing and registering food products, currently managed by the Health Protection Agency (HPA), will be transferred to the MFDA. Speaking to PSM News, Deputy Minister of Health Ismail Zahir said that the registration and licensing of establishments must be completed within 6 months of the enforcement of the law. He said that the Health Ministry and the MFDA have already begun this work and the transitional regulations for issuing licenses and registrations should be publicized within a month. He also noted that the development of these regulations is nearing completion and the MFDA will release the interim regulations within the next 2 weeks. The regulations will outline the types of food items that must be registered with the MFDA before being sold. It will also classify food service establishments and the services they provide with the classification system included in the regulations.
The Maldives Association of Travel Agents and Tour Operators Matato hosts the inaugural women's edition of the Maldives Travel Conference at Hotel Jen. During the opening ceremony, Matato CEO Amnet Susan highlighted the importance of addressing the challenges and concerns faced by individuals working in the tourism industry. Susan highlighted that women currently make up only 5% of the tourism workforce and stressed that this percentage can be increased through collective efforts. The conference featured in-depth discussions on the obstacles women encounter in advancing to higher positions within the tourism sector. It also explored societal perceptions of women employed in the industry. The one-day event included panels featuring female experts in the field who shared their insights and experiences. Matato announced plans to expand this initiative by holding similar conferences across various atolls and islands, furthering their commitment to empowering women in the tourism industry. Ministry of Tourism reveals that more than 100,000 tourists have arrived in the Maldives in just 17 days.
According to the ministry's daily updates, as of August 17th, a total of 109,415 tourist arrivals were recorded, marking a significant 14.9% increase compared to the 95,196 arrivals during the same period last year. The data also shows that 1.2 million tourists have visited the Maldives so far this year, representing a 10.3% increase from the same period in 2023, when 1.1 million tourists were recorded. The report highlights that Chinese tourists comprised the largest group of arrivals in 2024, with 184,632 visitors. Following China, the leading source markets include Russia with 139,308 visitors, the United Kingdom with 112,656 arrivals, Italy with 95,982 visitors, and Germany with 91,868 arrivals. Although the average daily tourist arrivals had remained below 6,000 for the past 4 months, the current average has risen to 6,436 visitors per day. On an average, tourists stay in the Maldives for a 7-day period. This steady influx has encouraged the government to set an ambitious target of attracting 2 million tourists by the end of the year.
Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba reports a 29% fall in quarterly profit as it battles sluggish consumption during an economic slowdown. Net income attributable to shareholders came in at 24.3 billion yuan in the quarter ending June 30th, Alibaba said in a corporate filing, down from 34.3 billion yuan in the same period in 2023. Alibaba runs some of China's most popular e-commerce apps, and its performance is widely considered an indicator of broader economic trends. China released another series of disappointing indicators despite recent government measures to boost growth. Alibaba's revenue for the first quarter was 243.2 billion yuan, up 4% from the previous year. But revenue from core shopping platforms Taobao and Tmall was down 1%, which Alibaba said was primarily due to the increase in investments in user experience. Chief Financial Officer Toby Zhu said in the filing, in this quarter they continue to invest for growth in core businesses while reducing losses in other business units through operating efficiency. Alibaba made $5.8 billion of share repurchases in the first quarter, part of an effort to reassure investors amid narrowing profits. Its results contrasted starkly with rival shopping app operator JD.com, which announced a whopping 92.1% increase in profit for the past quarter. Thursday's results come at a time when Alibaba is increasingly being challenged by Pinduoduo, another shopping app whose parent company owns internationally popular budget shopping app Temu. As sluggish growth hits consumers' wallets, more shoppers are turning to generally lower-priced items on the Pinduoduo app rather than Alibaba's Taobao and Tmall platforms. The change in shopping habits briefly caused Pinduoduo's parent company to overtake Alibaba in market capitalization in November. The United Nations condemns the unacceptable level of violence becoming commonplace against humanitarian workers, a record 280 of whom were killed worldwide in 2023.
Of the Security Council is called.
It also warned that the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza is potentially fueling even higher numbers of such deaths this year. The normalization of violence against aid workers and the lack of accountability are unacceptable, unconscionable, and enormously harmful for aid operations everywhere. Joyce Suya, acting director of the UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, said in a statement on World Humanitarian Day. The UN office said in the statement that with 288 workers killed in 33 countries last year, 2023 marked the deadliest year on record for the global humanitarian community, a 137% increase over 2022 when 188 workers died. It cited the aid worker security database, which has tracked such figures back to 1997. The UN said more than half of the deaths in 2023, or 163, were aid workers killed in Gaza during the first 3 months of the war between Israel and Hamas, mainly in airstrikes. South Sudan, racked by civil strife, and Sudan, where war between two rival generals has been raging since April 2023, are the next deadliest conflicts for humanitarians, with 34 and 25 deaths respectively. Also in the top 10 are Israel and Syria, with 7 deaths each, Ethiopia and Ukraine, with 6 deaths each, Somalia at 5 fatalities, and 4 deaths both in Myanmar and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In all the conflicts, most of the deaths are among local staff. Despite 2023's outrageously high number of aid worker fatalities, the UN office said 2024 may be on a track for an even deadly outcome. As of August 9th, 176 aid workers have been killed worldwide, according to the Aid Worker Security Database. Jannik Sinner ends his losing streak against Alexander Zverev with a win to set up a final in the Cincinnati Open against American Francis. The world number one had lost 4 of 5 previous matches against the German, with his only win coming at Roland Garros 4 years ago. The tight victory took more than 3 hours, not including a rain interruption. The match was paused midway through the first set tiebreaker for nearly 30 minutes while a shower passed over the area, another episode of the poor weather which has plagued the event in recent days. Sinner saved 2 Zverev set points and won the opener on his own third chance, only to fall in the second set as he lost an early break and was broken again in the 12th game as he sent an overhead into the net. The third set went into a tiebreaker with Sinner taking a 5-2 lead and triumphing on his second match point. The Italians said it was a tough match, a very exciting match, and they played in different conditions, sunny, rain, and then night. He said that there was a lot of tension for both of them. Sinner, who won his last title on grass 2 months ago, will play a rare final against the winner from France's and Danish 15th seed Holger Rune. The player, who has suffered recently with a hip problem illness and tonsillitis, which forced him to skip the Olympics, said he needs to keep up his fitness. Sinner will be playing in his 5th career Masters 1000 final. Francis came from 5-2 down in the final set and claimed a tiebreaker for 4-6, 6-1, 7-6 defeat of Danish 15th seed Holger Rune. Francis is the first American man to play the final here since John Isner in 2013. He saved 2 match points in his come-from-behind win. Francis, who will move into the ranking top 20, joining 4 compatriots in the strongest US showing since 1997. Fortnite Creator Epic Games launches its own app store Friday that allows users to bypass the stores run by Apple and Google after waging a years-long battle to directly offer its games to smartphone users. The Epic Games Store is available to users of Android phones worldwide and for iPhone and iPad users in Europe. The launch of the store comes after Epic waged legal battles and lobbied regulators to loosen the grip of Apple and Google on the sale of apps for phones running their operating systems. Epic's chief executive, Tim Sweeney, told journalists from the company's office in Sweden that they are very happy to be on the verge of launching their games on iOS and Android enabled by Europe's new DMA law. The EU's new law, known as the Digital Markets Act (DMA), has forced Apple to make the opening to app developers in Europe, but the US firm is not doing so elsewhere. Apple said that the DMA required them to enable new capabilities for developers in the EU, and they have worked to make them as easy as possible for users while also trying to protect their privacy and security. Fortnite is also making a return to iPhones and iPads after having been banned in 2020 for seeking to circumvent Apple's payment systems. Epic in 2020 launched a case aimed at breaking Apple's grip on the Apple Store, accusing the iPhone maker of operating a monopoly in its shop for digital services. But it lost its challenge to Apple, taking a cut of as much as 30% on all financial transactions in its app shop in a US federal court. In January, the US Supreme Court declined to hear the case, effectively ended the legal saga. Apple has justified the fees as helping ensure dangerous apps are weeded out and the operating system is secure. Epic is the first major video game publisher to open its own app store for Android and Apple devices. That's all the news we have for today. Thank you all for watching.
حقوقنا ليست للبيع.
and resumption of commercial activity.